morning, paper crafters. So my last video I showed you how I picked out my papers. I knew I was going to do a fall layout. I didn't know if it was going to do anything to do with a pumpkin patch, an apple orchard, Thanksgiving, but I picked out neutral fall papers, put them together, and now I am going to be ready to put this layout together. So I've decided I'm going to do a pumpkin patch layout, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my title. Now what I have here is some Glad press and seal, and I got this idea from Caroline over at Crafting with Wine. And what I did was I cut out my letters from this Cricut cartridge, Cheerful Seasons, and I cut out my capital P's in size 2.5 and all the other lowercase letters at size 1.5. And then I lined up my title how I wanted it, covered it with the plastic, the Glad press and seal, and then picked it up. And now, oops, looks like the A came off. And now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue down on the letters and then use it to go over. Alright. So let me see if I can get this back on here where I want it to keep it straight. So it seems to be moving just a little bit. I've never done this before. This is the first time for me. I think all right, that's straight, hopefully. Okay, so hopefully that's straight. If not, I think I can probably maneuver it some. Oops, sorry, I forgot a shadow just formed. My horse just walked right in front of the windows. They like to see what I'm doing down here. So originally I wanted my title to say Picking Pumpkins, but I didn't have enough room on top, so I changed it to Picking a Pumpkin. That's part of the problem when you don't have a computer to design your spacing, and you just kind of guesstimate. I guess I could have used a ruler or something, but I don't know. Didn't feel like it. I'm not that good at math. So this appears to be a good idea, except for the letters seem to be moving ever so slightly on this Glad press and seal. So you can see this K right here decided to turn. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick this up, hope nothing falls off, and let me just get this lined up, because I have very little room to work with on the right side layout, so I need this to be perfectly matched. Okay. Press that down. This side looks to be a little off. So I think for the most part that worked out okay. I don't know, it's a little crooked, so I can't say it's the greatest. Let me see if I can fix this while the glue's still wet. So it's a good idea. The problem I might have had was I did my cutouts on my letters a few days ago, and then I didn't want the letters blowing off, so I put them on my Glad press and seal and just let them sit here for a couple days. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe they just kind of got a little the stickiness kind of wore off, and it caused them to adjust a little or shift a little bit. So I'm not quite sure. So, but I do like the idea. It did make it very easy to lay it down. I'll just have to try this again another time and see if it works better if I just do it all at one time. All right, now you see my letters are very close together. It's because I didn't have much room to work with, much wiggle room, because after I created this base layout and then I got my pictures out, I decided I needed another photo mat up here, so it barely fits. All right. So I think that's good. That looks straight, right? All right, so let me go ahead and move this one out of the way, and then I will bring in this one here. And I made another 4x6 photo mat that's gonna go right here. So see, I had no room for an S, which is what I really wanted. Okay. All right. Next I have some pieces. So originally I had just put these down here like this, but I felt like they were dangling somewhere. So I decided to cut out this little 1/2 inch strip. It's about 1/2 inch by 5 inches strip of leaves. And I'm just going to put it right down here with a little space on both sides. Okay, and it's just slightly higher than my photo mat because I didn't want it to look like it was a border strip going all the way across. I just really wanted it to be a place to kind of hold my die cuts. So this is a printing cut, and it's going to go right here. And because it's a printing cut, this is also a printing cut, this little squirrel on the tree stump, I felt like it was getting smashed down too much. So I am popping this up on some foam tape. Just to give it a little bit of dimension. I don't normally use foam tape because when I paper piece, I feel like there's usually enough layers to give it its own natural 3D dimensional effect. But this one, it really was just caving into it. And then I'm going to take my Zig 2-way glue, and I'm just going to attach this vine right here. Okay. Then I have this photo mat that I created. The jack-o'-lantern pumpkin word is from a paper pad that's all seasons, and then this is just a green cardstock. And this is 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. I'm just gonna center it right on here. Alright, so this is the right side of my layout. Let's go ahead and bring in the left side. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. Actually, I'm going to do these photo mats first. And these are 3.5 by 3.5. I'm just going to center them down like this. Okay, and then the middle one. I'm going to center this right between these two here. Not perfectly, just eyeballing it. Alright, then I have another 1/2 inch by 5 inch strip. I'm going to put it right down here. Now I could get picky and bring in the other side and line it up to make sure it's perfectly even, but I think eyeballing it is just fine. Okay. Then I have these 2 pumpkins that came off the same cartridge, Cheerful Seasons. These are cut at 1.5 inches. I'm just going to put it right down here. Here's another one exactly the same. And I just cut every paper was cut out with just some of my scraps. Over the summer I went through all my scraps because I was keeping them in a large container. And it was taking me a long time to go through it. In fact, here, I'll show it to you real fast. So I was keeping it in this container, and I just would throw them all in here. So over the summer, I decided to go through and write down brown solid and put all my brown solids in here. This yellow one needs to be organized. Green solid, green print, etc. And now it's so much easier for me to find pieces of scrap paper to cut out little paper piecings like this. So, and then I have my mousse holding the pumpkins, and I added some glaze ink to the eyes just to make the eyes stand out and the eyebrows. And I put some Wink Stella on the pumpkins. I don't know if you can see them shimmering or not. And I popped this little mousse up on foam tape as well. And this foam tape comes from the Dollar Tree.